This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, coming to you with an article about student loans. And I don't think it's really sometimes getting enough attention. I've done a number of videos in the past about student loans, but I haven't visited this site in a while, across the street. But this article really caught my attention, and it's worth just taking a listen to, because many people have the impression, even myself, that we only have student loans at 1.45 trillion. And it's actually much more, as this article points out. So I'm going to dive right in. Of course, I'm going to put the link inside the description part of this video, so you can look at it at your leisure. The student loan debt implosion versus attending college on the cheap. The Crush Street staff is consistently researching the most important investment research. Our goal is to magnify your financial education in these critical items. There's a great divide on how much student loan debt is out there in the United States. The mainstream media, MSM, is quoting an annual outstanding average of approximately 1.5 trillion. 1.465.337 billion if you wander over to the Federal Reserve Economic Data Fred Portal and pull out the annual sum of student loans owned and securitized. Outstanding SLOAS, the number is actually 5.9 trillion. I'll repeat that again. Outstanding SLOAS, the number is actually 5.9 trillion. Round off for a good measure. Yes, that is trillions. Does it not just give you a warm, fuzzy feeling all over? What is the number that MSM tosses around the value of subprime mortgages going into the financial crisis? Hey, at least there was a house for collateral. But this debt bomb is backed only by a diploma and debt servitude. And that's worth just really thinking about this when you're going to continue your education. These loans will have to be paid, and they cannot be transformed and relinquished like any other loans. Now, something may change in the future, but I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially because people are still in that adage that this is just, you have to do this. And I understand why, because, education requires a job, but the way we're going about this, you don't cripple populations because this, and you then can't let them in. U.S. student debt, I kind of digressed there, but I wanted just to make that a point. U.S. student debt might lead to the next financial crisis. By contrast, in March 2007, in the lead up to the financial crisis, the value of subprime mortgages was estimated at 1.3 trillion. I love this from across the street because they give real data from charts, and charts speak 1,000 words. You can pull this up from Fred itself. Here's a nice, colorful graph provided by CNBC with loan balance percentages broken down by age group. Again, charts do a great visual and do more than 1,000 words. I'm actually being modest here. It just shows you things, and so you can see it and put it in clear terms. Despite the economic recovery, student debtors' monster in the closet has only worsened. 40% of borrowers expect to fall behind on their loans by 2023. Dan Strong and his wife owe more than $350,000 for their bachelor's and master's degree. The huge monster in the closet for me and these student loans that kept getting bigger and bigger. When they graduated, they were faced with money bills of around $800 each and have since struggled to keep up. It's so stressful to think about the fact that you're probably going to have to work until you drop dead at work because of your student loans, Strong said. This is CNBC, September 22nd. Again, this is reported by an article that CNBC ran. A new report shows that the average student debt for graduates is climbing, but at a slower pace over the last couple of years. According to Institute for College Access and Success, nationally 65% of 2017 college graduate student loan debt with an average owed of about $30,000, which is 1% higher than 2016. Approximately 15% of the class of 2017 included non-federal loans, and those loans provide few consumer protections and payment options than a federal student loan. And the terms are typically at much higher costs. It is important to note that colleges are now required to report debt levels of these graduates, so the ICAS report relied on it, in part voluntary number provided by 1,020 colleges. About half the U.S. four-year nonprofit colleges, ICAS, also use data from the National Post-Secondary Student Aid Study, and that report counts all borrowing and is released once every 4 years. The report does not include debt as for profit colleges. And this is the average student debt by state, class of 2017. You can see here where the most regions are that have the highest amount. A new report released on September 13, 2008 from AARP and Associated Young Americans, AYA, concluded that more than 33% of millennials and baby boomers are unable to buy a home due to the financial difficulty of affording that debt 24% of Generation Xers are unable to buy a car because of their student loan debt obligations. The trillion-dollar student loan debt crisis is clearly having a tangible impact on all Americans across all generations, said AYA founder Brad Brown. The impacts of the crisis have deep consequences on our economy as a whole, with the majority of Americans noting that the student loan debt has been a barrier in making key life decisions and planning for the future. AYA teamed up with AARP on this research to get better understanding that impact and how younger and older Americans can come together on calling for a higher education system that works better for us all. A large portion of total student loan debt outstanding is unlikely to ever be paid. That is without saying, as almost 25% are already in a state of delinquency or default. According to a new survey by Neighbor Works America, folks with student loans to pay off are putting off the purchase of a home and worry about it all the time. Student loan debt ballooned 130% since 2008, and millennials are taking the biggest hit. With the U.S. population teetering on the edge of a consumer debt cliff, and the inability to afford the purchase of a home, car, or launch a small business, and level of savings and emergency funds in the toilet, it is fanciful to believe we are now headed for another crisis that will eclipse the great financial crisis. Well said. Look at this here. Charts, I'm telling you, total consumer credit. Cumulative debt default rates over time, 1995 to 1996, and 2003 to 2004 college entrance. You can see it here. Here's my message to any college-bound folks who have not already sunk their debt ship and are on the highway of their future driving politically correct Prius with no need to beat the Joneses. There is no magic bullet for free stuff. Despite the Democratic, all right, this is when they get political, but just bear with me here. Socialists of America attempt to convince you that such a plan is even remotely possible and simply transfers the debt elsewhere and eventually back to you. Yes, college is getting more expensive, but there's a solid method to the madness of affordability. 30 years ago, cough, cough, I did exactly what this wise young man is advising today. Start borrowing money and go to college by Anthony O'Neill. And he has a little video here. I think we'll play it.
Are you already in your first semester in school, in college, and you're like, yo, you're starting to see that you're actually accruing debt, and you want to figure out what are some ways to stop this before it gets too big? If that's you, I want you to keep it locked right here on Just Ask AO, because I've got some steps I want you to do right now so you will not accumulate any more debt. Keep it locked. So today's question comes from Sekou. I'm already in college in my first semester, and I've already accumulated $10,000 in student loan debt. What should I do for the second half so I don't have to keep taking on more loans? Yo, Sekou represents a lot of young people watching right now, and I want to say this up front to my brother, man, you have the right mindset. I am so impressed that already you can see, after your first semester in college, that wait a minute, am I going about this right? So I have two answers for you. One is no, one is yes. The yes is you have the right mindset. The no is, no you're not. If you are putting yourself into debt, that's not healthy for your future. So this is the very first thing I want you to do. I want you to step back. Say, you know what? Can I go to a community college right now? If I can't get this paid for with scholarships and cash right now, should I step back and go to a community college? I think you should. So I want you to look up your major, and I want you to go and look at your local community college wherever you are, and I want you to see if that community college has that major. If not, maybe you need to think about changing your major. But the first...
We'll stop it at that. You can watch the full video at your leisure. But again, it's pointing out just a different alternative to what we've been told to do. Education has its points, but there's so much. The world is changing so drastically, and especially in the information age, information is so readily available. Think about doing things differently. Hope this video has been of any help. If it has, please subscribe, leave some comments. Until my next video, I'm out.